GlowTV for the Daily India Report that brings you glimpses of the changing India. In our first story, the Union government has beefed up the campaign to vaccinate the country against COVID 19. New Delhi has told state governments on 24th May to do limited on site registration for COVID 19 vaccine for 18 to 44 age group to not let doses go waste because of no shows. States in India have said that some unutilized COVID 19 vaccine doses may get expired. So, India on 24th May has allowed limited on site registration and appointments for vaccination for the 18 to 44-year age group only at government centres. The additional on site registrations and appointments will be at the discretion of respective states and union territories. India's Union Health Ministry said there are unutilized vaccine doses as some online registrants do not show up, and these will be offered to on site registrants to minimize wastage. During India's independence, an incident in the South African city of Pietermaritzburg turned Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi into Mahatma for India. A little more than 100 years later, the South African city now boasts of another Good Samaritan, a third generation person of Indian origin whose globally renowned NGO called Gift of the Givers is putting together a significant aid and medical supplies package for motherland India to help fight the COVID 19 crisis. Founder of Gift of the Givers, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, says he quit medical practice in 1994 after being spiritually instructed in 1992 to create the unique disaster relief organization that works unconditionally.
We've assisted 44 countries, and without exaggeration, 44 countries including South Africa. And without exaggeration, we've helped millions of people in all these countries. We've supported, one of the countries we helped, India, was the earthquake in Gujarat many years ago. I think that was in 2001. Then we offered assistance with the tsunami of 2004. But at that point, the Indian government took a decision that it was not accepting any international aid. The Andaman Islands were affected at that point. And this is the third time we're offering assistance now with COVID-19 in India. The aid we collect predominantly comes from South Africans. We don't actively look for money. We don't phone people. We don't have street collections. We don't have paid advertising for money. Yes, we have a lot of media coverage. In South Africa, we get the biggest amount of media coverage in this country. So people talk about our projects. The media even travels with us when we go to disasters. They come with us. All the different correspondents from the different South African media travel with us. And some international media have also traveled with us, some other parts of the world. So they say what we do and they show what we do, and people on their own come to us. Up till recently, you can say almost totally 99.9% of money was from South Africa. The 0.1% through social media, some citizen in some other part of the world will see what you're doing, thinks he likes what you're doing, and give you a €5 or a £5 or a £10 or $100. But during COVID-19 last year, when we got involved in a very, very big way in our country, businesses that have they had offices in countries in other parts of the world took notice of what we're doing. And suddenly there was an interest from America, from UK, from Europe as a beginning to start supporting some of our projects that we're doing. And now we find that there's more and more interest from other companies from outside South Africa that are very interested. And of course, a lot of citizens who don't really know us, but have read about us on social media, who make their contributions. And I really, take my hats out to them, because you just can't make a contribution to something you don't know. But these people, a lot of them have been making contributions to us, and we really appreciate about that. Gift of the Givers is geared up to meet any disaster. For an earthquake, we send in our own search and rescue teams. We have our own specialized equipment. One of the equipment is called the life locator. We put the box on the ground, a very small box, size of a laptop. It will, in 3 minutes, tell you who is alive 10 meters under the rubble. We have advanced equipment. In the old days, you have to wait for everybody to keep quiet so you can hear sounds in the rubble. We now have special types of audio cams that go into the rubble and pick up sounds. So we have very specialized equipment. So search and rescue is the first teams that will go across. With that, it will be followed by medical teams. The medical teams will be trauma medical teams, including general surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, if necessary, neurosurgeons, theater nurses, ICU nurses, general doctors, gynecologists, general practitioners, primary healthcare nurses. Inevitably, in a disaster, besides the trauma medicine, there's a lot of primary healthcare that has to be done. People still have the diabetes, they still have high blood pressure, they still have asthma, they have minor wounds, they have abrasions, all that kind of things need attention. And of course, the anesthetists that travel with the surgical teams. That's and also sometimes so that we have post-op rehab teams and the later stage trauma counselors. What those two teams, we take the general supplies, food, medicine, blankets, tents, sometimes clothing, towels, hygiene packs, and sometimes also we make vaccines available, for tetanus and other types of requirements in a disaster zone, like what we did in Sri Lanka. We actually flew vaccines from India into Sri Lanka and from Dubai into Sri Lanka in 2004. So it all depends on what type of requirements are there. But in essence, we take everything. In floods, we have our own boat people. People who can go on to dive in the water. We have our own specialized, advanced life support swimmers who will go into the water with boats or jet skis or paddle boats. And recently in Cyclone Idai, which affected Mozambique in 2019, we were the only people in the world in Mozambique that had 6 helicopters. We had our own helicopters, which we hired, and we had ground crews. We had our own satellite equipment. We had water crews, and we had medical teams all at the same time providing assistance. So our assistance is very diversified. We are the most diverse disaster intervention organization in the world. And we're a total field hospital, not a mobile hospital. At a mobile hospital, you need to have big equipment to move generators, to move containers. We're a field hospital. Our items are very portable. We carry it in the plane, either in the hold or in the storage section or inside the passenger section. And we've got portable equipment to the point that we can get off an airport and actually do surgery on the airport itself. What ICU facilities and everything in the tents that we blow up and just build up from the cargo hold. We don't need specialized big equipment to move stuff. That's the level of our arrangement and readiness in any disaster. We have 220 volunteers, medical search and rescue, and all the different fields I mentioned on standby, and we can move at very short notice anywhere in the world.
Dr. Sooliman hails from an accomplished and multicultural family. Like Gandhi, his great grandfather migrated from Gujarat. His mother was a pioneer radio jockey for the first Indian language radio service called Lotus FM on South African Broadcasting Corporation under apartheid regime. He is working very closely with South African and Indian governments to send the much needed oxygen concentrators and later CPAP machines to India.
We've done many, many missions with the South African government, where sometimes the people from DIRCO International, our DIRCO, our international relations, travel with us, or even people from the president's office travel with us. That has been going on for years. All the diplomatic work, all the arrangements through our embassy, whether in South Africa, to talk to the affected country embassy or high commission, and in the country that we're going to, our embassy or high commission in that country talks to that government in that country. So in this process, in this specific one for India, we spoke to a man called Mr. Ashok Babu. He's the Indian Consul General in Cape Town. We tried to speak to the High Commission, but he's ill, so we couldn't speak to him. But people in his commission have spoken to us. We've spoken to people, somebody who was the ex-Indian Consul General from Cape Town, who works in the Prime Minister's office in India. We've had relationships and talking to him. And then DIRCO, our international relations or foreign relations, whatever you call it that side, external relations, people have been talking to the Indian government and in the embassy, in the High Commission in South Africa, and through our High Commission in India, talking to the government in India. And now, of course, we've spoken to organizations on the ground in India and seeing what's required. But the message has come back clear that for goods to move, the fastest and the easiest way is from our government, with our government, through the Indian government, and given to the Red Cross in India. So we're now preparing for the first consignment this week of oxygen concentrators to go on Qatar Airlines. As part of the arrangements, we're looking at oxygen concentrators, which we've already purchased. People have donated, and we have a substantial amount of them. About 120 of those so far. And it's difficult to access because our country is going through the third wave now also. Then, of course, oxygen cylinders. We're looking at getting oxygen cylinders here, and we can get that. We'll send that by ship, and more concentrators by ship. In the meantime, in Mumbai, we managed to get some BiPAP machines, which we bought in Mumbai, which we're using in a hospital called Central Hospital in Mumbai. And then we've had other people who've contacted us. They've managed to source oxygen concentrators inside India already. that is within the spec. The other challenge was that the specs kept on changing. So we have to make sure that we conform to the specs given by the health ministry in India. And now I think we finally got the right confirmation of the right type of spec. And we're now busy purchasing concentrators in India to start the process.
Dr. Sooliman and his Gift of the Givers continue to work with Indian government agencies and mission in South Africa on a possible aid of 4,000 CPAP machines that could prove vital for hospitals in an impending third COVID-19 wave. Even before its release in theatres, star-studded Gujarati rom-com Swagatam was released on Shimaru Me last week. Popular digital platform Shimaru Me launched a Gujarati movie Swagatam as the digital first release before going to theatres. The digital premiere was on May 20th. The platform recently announced a lot of new content with the lineup of blockbuster movies, plays, original web series. Swagatam is a thriller rom-com and a twisted family saga that is dark and the family considers madness as normal. That's all for this bulletin of Daily India Report. Thank you for watching GlowTV.